Thank you to everyone who's watching on the city website, Facebook Live, and Government Channel 3. This is the Manhattan Area Recovery Task Force. Sorry, we had a little technical issue that you may have experienced if you heard some music, but we are now back live on May 13th for our task force meeting. We'll pick up where we think the interruption started with Alice from the Health Department giving the health update.
Okay, thank you very much, Dennis. As we released yesterday, there were 34 new COVID positive cases in Riley County. That means that our percent positive cases for the week of May 2nd was 1.6%, which is down from last week, which was over 3%. None of the new cases reported are breakthrough cases, which means there are no individuals who have been vaccinated. So that means the vaccine is doing its job. There are no COVID positive patients currently at Ascension Via Christi Hospital in Manhattan. Vaccination events continue. We are having a vaccine event on May 20th for ages 12 to 17. And this is in light of the FDA and CDC decision to allow Pfizer to be administered to those who are 12 to 15. So the Riley County Health Department will be receiving Pfizer vaccines on tomorrow, we believe, and we'll be using those for a vaccine clinic May 20th from 9 to 4 at Pottorff Hall. There'll be free food for those who are vaccinated. There'll be activities for the entire family. We have dozens of area organizations and businesses that are going to be participating in the event. And if anybody wants to get an appointment, you don't need to have an appointment, but it'll make things go a little smoother for you. It's you can make an appointment at rileycountyks.gov/school vac, VAC. If people are still also interested in getting vaccinated but not able to make that May 20th event, the health department is still providing vaccines on Thursdays and Fridays. You need to call to make an appointment. You must have an appointment to be vaccinated. The number there is 785-565-6560. To date, Riley County Health Department has fully vaccinated 20,000, around 20,000 people. That can include some individuals who do not live in Riley County but work in Riley County. And as I said, the positive rate for this week is 1.6%. And just a reminder that we are still providing testing for individuals. There is the well health testing on 419 Holiday Drive that will last till May 28th. And then following that, Riley County, which is still offering testing, rapid and saliva-based testing, they'll kind of take over all the testing for the county. And if individuals need to travel, they can get the saliva test kits from the health department to use so that they can have the results for the airline. And I think that was where I left off with that, which brought me to my my brainstorming question for everybody, which is ways that we can possibly incentivize the public to get vaccinated. I think Julie Gibbs said we have roughly 35% of the population vaccinated. Of course, we're looking for a much larger percentage because as people get vaccinated, that continues to decrease the risk of another spread or new cases. So I was asking if anybody had any ideas of ways to incentivize our community.
I've got two to start with. If free food seems to always be a good choice, so maybe working with some local partners and restaurants there may be a help. But I think one of the other things that we need to collectively try to do is to work with businesses, whether they're small or large, on providing time for employees, both to get and receive the vaccines and then being able to take off time to recover if necessary, because I think a lot of people aren't wanting to do that because some of them can't afford to do that or just not incentivized enough to be able to do that. So I think those would be two things. I don't know if it's going to get us to where we need to be, but it would be at least a good start in increasing the percentage anyway. So those would be two things that I would add to that.
That's a great idea, Commissioner Ford, and we did that. And time off to recover and to get the shot, and we have 100% compliance in our small business.
Great.
I would also say that there is money in this latest Recovery Act to reimburse businesses for the time that they give employees off to get the shot and to recover. So we're tracking that time, and I don't know exactly what that process is, but businesses can recoup those costs. So that's a fabulous idea.
And I think too, something that I had spoken to Shiloh about, and also Tammy Robinson here, is ways that if businesses would possibly offer free appetizers or $1 off, their order at a restaurant, that they could possibly be reimbursed through the CARES Act. But we have to figure out the logistics of that, because I know there has to be receipts and a way to track all of that. So as I had mentioned earlier, I'm meeting with Gina and Dennis Cook later this week and early next week to kind of brainstorm a little bit to see ways that we can kind of get the whole community behind this effort.
I think there's going to actually be specific funding with all this that's going to be outside of municipal and county allocations that will be useful in this, and that the businesses themselves can probably work on those reimbursements and probably won't even require us to have to do that. But we need to encourage them. We also need to encourage them that, the safety and the sanctity and security of their business is their employees. And in order for them to be able to produce whatever it is they're producing, this is a key at this particular point in time to get moving forward and recover fully. So
right.
I think that's the message that needs to be sent if there's any, complications or concerns about that.
And a quick note on the reimbursement. I do believe it's in the form of tax credits right now. There might be some other funds available, but I do believe it is in the form of tax credits right now.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing too. Thanks, Marissa.
This is Julie, and I would suggest that we might look at having maybe a fun venue, maybe, and bring more attention to Manhattan. Maybe younger people, maybe, parents who haven't been vaccinated yet would like to go have a venue at, say, around Johnny Caw, or maybe with Willie the Wildcat. And it's sort of fun, maybe, maybe something that we don't think about a lot. But I was I was hearing on the news what I think it's the Museum of Natural History in the other Manhattan was allowing people to get their COVID shot under the big whale there. And so I just throwing that out as an idea that maybe there could be an element of fun attached with this somehow, and put it out there for your thinking. Thanks.
That's a great idea, especially something maybe with Sunset Zoo.
Yeah, that would be good too. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
I maybe partner up with Arts in the Park too.
Yeah, Arts in the Park. I think whatever we do, we have to make it so it's easy for businesses. We don't need to burden them with something. So if it's a giveaway, if it's something that once they get the vaccine, you give it to them, then they can take it. So it's not something that a business is going to have to be responsible for trying to reclaim, because a lot of them are struggling right now. So we need to make it as easy as possible. If the gift is something they need to get from a business, that whatever we do, it's got to make it simple for them. And what we've done at the university is just have prizes, and maybe the health department. And again, it's things like iPads, Fitbits, things like that, and their name is put in a drawing, and that incentivizes more people to come in and get their vaccinations. But then it doesn't have that burden of having somebody else having to administer a lot of things to make that happen.
Definitely. And I think too, one of the things that I was mentioning earlier, I think the first go around, a lot of the research that's out there right now says the two groups that are least likely to get vaccinated are white male Republicans and Trump supporters. So I think too, just trying to figure out ways to reach them, not being either of those, it would be helpful for, if anybody has any insight on ways to possibly reach them, to incentivize them to get vaccinated. I'd be open to any suggestions.
So I know I know Karen Hibbard, I think, is on the phone. She may be the phone here, but she had mentioned to me before, Alice, Karen's the director of our Convention Visitors Bureau.
Okay.
That she could work on developing some stay-at-home packages, so hotel attraction
Oh,
those
okay.
for drawings. So you might touch base with her. She's gone this week, but she'll be back next week.
Okay, yeah, that'll be great. I might email you just for her contact information.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Just thinking off the top of my head here, with the latest update to the CDC here, I wonder how much that's going to encourage people at this point in time who, elsewise will be required to wear a mask. I wonder how much that's going to get people off their chairs and into another chair and a shot in their arm. That's something that we're going to definitely be interesting to watch here over the next, I'll say month or so, probably.
I'm curious and just asking y'all as a group and friends that you have that have not been vaccinated, are they even wearing a mask? And I don't know if that's a fair assessment or not, because I thought the same thing too, John, is here's an incentive. You don't need to wear a mask, but starting Monday, people don't have to wear a mask anyway. So it's kind of like,
I would say from my perspective, Alice, it's about 50-50 on that.
Okay.
So if you can get even 25% of that 50% there, it's still a reasonably good gain.
Okay. Because we're on Fort Riley where everybody has to wear a mask. There's no options. So I'm just kind of curious, what the thought process is behind others. And I've kind of been asking people, as I meet them, if they're not vaccinated, just why, just out of curiosity, so that we can kind of target some messaging towards them or try to better inform the public. So. Okay, well, I appreciate it. I don't want to take up too much of your meeting time, but I appreciate it. And if anybody has anything to add, please let me know, because it's just kind of me here. So I love hearing other ideas.
All right. Well, thank you, Alice. And I'm
Thank you.
assuming, Dennis, everybody has Alice's contact information, or can we get that to everybody? So
We'll get that to everybody.
perfect.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah. Thank you. So as we mentioned earlier, we're glad to know that area high schools and KSU graduation ceremonies will be this weekend, hopefully, despite the rain. And we know Kansas State is finalizing plans for fall athletics and classes. So we're going to ask Linda Cook to give us some more information on what their plans are.
Absolutely happy to do that. We are in our last 2 days of finals, so you're seeing some nervous students that haven't finished their work yet, and some that are really smiling because they're done with all their finals. So, but we do, commencement will start one tomorrow afternoon, several on Saturday and Sunday. And just for your emergency management planners, we do have a meeting. We're dealing with the inclement weather. We got members of the EMS from Riley County meeting with us this afternoon. So we've got a plan. If it rains, we're continuing with commencement. Everybody's going to put their rain ponchos on, and we're making sure we've got enough rain ponchos for everybody. But there are plans in case we have high winds, tornadoes, hail, lightning, similar types of things that we go through with football games and outdoor sports. So that planning is underway, and the communications channels are set up. So if plans have to be changed quickly, they can be. But as far as COVID is, we're still operating in what we call our phase 3, and we'll continue most of that throughout the summer. That does have the limitations on the sizes of mass gatherings. What we will do is move into our phase out. The plan is on August 1st, assuming that everything stays the same, or we continue to make progress in reduce positive cases. Our positive cases, they're in the March, late March, early April timeframe, because we're continuing to doing testing and incentivizing people to be tested. So we were down as low as a 0.42% positive cases on the testing, but the end of April, very beginning of May, it went back up to 3.66%. This past week, we're down to about 1.66%. So that's when some other areas, where we saw Michigan spiking and a few other areas around the country, we saw some little spikes here, but not anywhere like what was going on around the country. But it's why we just have to keep watching what's going on. So we'll continue to do the testing, but on August 1st, we'll move into our phase out. That's when we'll have things back in person, on campus. Classes will be in person. Again, we're going to continue to monitor this. So we're prepared if something happens by June, late July, August, we're ready to change. We know how to change fast now. May 17th, we're going to lift our university-related sponsored out-of-state travel or international travel. The guidance there is that the travel plans have to be made in compliance with KDHE and CDC travel alerts, as well as with U.S. Departments of State travel. So obviously there's some places that CDC and the U.S. Department of State are restricting travel in and out of different countries. So we follow those guidelines, but we had we had travel restrictions on all travel, and then we're starting to lift that on May 17th. In our classrooms after May 17th for summer, there's still social distancing in the classrooms, some online learning, but some of the things we're taking back or that we're not doing are disinfecting the classrooms after every class session. We'll lift that. We're working on a return to work policy. Obviously, a lot of people learned how to work from home. They like working remotely. So we're redoing all of our policies now, trying to make decisions on how we're equitable in what jobs really do need to come back. Everybody's going to be required to come back between August and August 31st in phased in periods, those that work in the office, faculty and staff. And then each department will start to work on how they would allow ongoing working remote, what positions can do that and what are actually required to be in the office going forward. Things like the water fountains, water bottle refilling stations will be opened up after May 17th. As far as we are encouraging students, faculty, staff to be vaccinated. And again, I talked a little bit about we were providing incentives for students. We've pretty much finished the large clinics that we're doing on campus. We got some J&J vaccines for students this past week since they won't be back to get the second dose, but we've been doing the vaccination work there. And we're trying to get our arms around to understand about figuring out how we can determine how many people have been vaccinated by the time they return next fall, which will help us make some final decisions then on whether or not masks will be required or not. We'd like to get that herd immunity up there if we could. So those will be some things that we'll be looking at that hopefully we can get enough good information to know that we've got a larger percentage of our campus population vaccinated, that we wouldn't have to have the masks on campus. And also on May 17th, we followed the CDC guidelines so that if you're outdoors, you do not, and you're vaccinated, you do not have to have the face masks on, except in the larger venues. Like you'll still see them there in commencement, large sporting events. So that's where the face coverings would be required. And we'll continue to watch what the CDC is doing going forward. And then also August 1st, we will lift the limitations on gatherings, the size of mass gatherings. So we'll be back to our events and activities on campus that don't require that 50-person mass gathering limit. So things like McCain will start to have events, and we could have the larger campus events. And we're just going to continue to do as much as we can to promote and encourage the vaccination. So that's pretty much it.
That was quite a bit. All right. Any questions for Linda? All right. Well, Fort Riley continues to focus on mission readiness. So we're going to turn it over to Steve Elstrom to give us an update on any notable events or plans that the fort may be working on for the summer or fall.
Hey, good afternoon. Can you hear me? All right. Steve Elstrom, the Public Affairs Officer here at Fort Riley. Wanted to talk COVID. Fort Riley continues to abide by the Department of Defense face mask policy. Alice just referenced that. It's unchanged since February 4. We do wear them in all locations, save outdoors when we can maintain social distance, or as I'm in my office alone and with the door closed, I'm allowed to not wear a face mask. We are increasingly approving events for safe execution. We are continuing to encourage vaccination. And this week we've hosted a drive-through vaccine clinic as a practice to get the vaccine to where people are. Walter Reed researchers have told us that this is one of the best ways to increase vaccination rates amongst the middle on the fence type of individuals. So we put it where they already are with minimal weight. I'll just say, if you watch WWW News this afternoon or evening, you may see coverage of our drive-through clinic, which this week was held Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at the parking lot of our Post Exchange. And then that clinic returns to the same location, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Thursday of next week. As we return to normal and approve events, let's talk a few of them. The Memorial Day ceremony will be held both for limited public audience and a virtual live stream. So that's 11:40 a.m. on Memorial Day at the Post Cemetery. Victory Week is June 8th through 13th. Of course, June 8th is the 1st Infantry Division's birthday. It'll be 104 this year. And then June 14th, which is at the tail end of our celebration, is the Army birthday. Big Red 1 Year of Honor continues. That is something that kicked off in February. And each month we pause to celebrate and pay homage to people of honor, different monthly themes. And so each month we do that. The next one is this coming Wednesday, the 19th of May. And finally, we are expanding and we're doing more community support throughout the region. And I'll note Sundown Salute, Junction City on the 3rd of July this year. And then the Veterans Day Parade out in Manhattan on Veterans Day. Any questions of Fort Riley?
All right, anybody have any questions or comments for Steve? All right, so there's some exciting plans in place for our business districts, and I know we have one of our directors with us
Hey guys.
today, so I'm going to ask Gina to give us an update on what's going on in downtown Manhattan.
Hi all. Happy to be here. Thanks, Carla, if you're still on here, for visiting our platforms for lunch today. Appreciate that. First, I'll let you guys know that we kicked off our event season with Pink Up the Pace in April. It's our annual breast cancer run, benefits Johnson Cancer Research Center on the K-State campus. It's a 5K and a 1-mile honor walk. And we were really anticipating that we would be about 20% below our numbers from previous years. And in fact, we were up, and we were able to donate nearly $4,000 to Johnson this year. So we're really excited that people were came out in force, and it was a record-setting event. We just hope that that was a good sign for how our event season is going to go downtown. And our event season is moving right along, because next week, Thursday, is the third Thursday of our event series that runs May through September, every third Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m. And if you're not familiar with third Thursdays, it is an arts, entertainment, performance, local foods. We have local talent and artists that are out on the streets, not on the streets, but on our sidewalks. And they are displaying their works, some for sale, some just talent and performances that you'll see, maybe that you've never had an opportunity to see before. One of them that comes to mind is a group called Flight Risk, and those are the women from Little Apple Pilates, and they fly on those silks, and they do it from rings and on the sidewalks. And so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of unique local talent that we love to show off in the region. So again, that kicks off Thursday, May 20th, and you can always expect to find a great food and drink special being offered at any of our restaurants. And of course, the platforms are probably going to be, depending on the weather, really full. So come down and grab a seat after work. We'd love to have you walk around. It's a family-friendly event. We've got activities and art projects for the kids. So come on down. That'll pretty much occupy our summer. We are going to bring a new event. We've always had a culinary tour, formerly known as Taste of Downtown. We've reinvented and reimagined that event, and it will now be called Plates and Pours, because we are going to invite our drinking establishments like Manhattan Brewing Company and 324 Speakeasy into this event. And so it's just going to morph a little bit. It'll be on October 5th. Typically, this event has been a sellout within just a matter of days. We allow only 400 tickets, so start looking for that in September. We're pretty excited about this event. We think it'll be a fun one, especially again with having the